Hello everyone, Monique here, wishing you a very happy full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. The full moon lunar eclipse will be here Friday, August 28th at 3:54 a.m. Eastern Time, and it will be at 4 degrees of Pisces. So on August 28th, we will reach the end of our eclipse portal, which started 2 weeks ago with the total solar eclipse in Leo. And before we talk about what is happening next, I wanted to pose 3 questions to you. I wanted you to think about the last 2 weeks and think about what did you see, what did you learn, and what did you transform? 2 weeks ago, I suggested that, not to react quickly to any unexpected news or anything that came up on the eclipse. And, the suggestion was for you to just journey through this portal, to step into the shadows, to be curious, but not to do anything final. And so now the eclipse the portal is closing. And maybe something dramatic happened in these past 2 weeks. For some of us, maybe nothing dramatic happened. Sometimes the eclipses show up and the results of it are very external. We come face to face with unexpected news or sudden events. And sometimes the eclipse is very internal. It's more of that internal inner journey that we walk through during this portal time. Regardless if it was an external or an internal journey, we have been transformed. And this is the time now to reflect on exactly how we transformed during these last 2 weeks. One of the first things that we want to look at is the full moon itself. It's in Pisces, and traditionally Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet that invites us to expand, to grow, and to have faith in what is happening for us. Now, Jupiter is in Leo. And actually, 2 weeks ago, the solar eclipse was in Leo. And we also have the South Node in Leo. So there is a lot of surrendering, forgiving, letting go and releasing. That's very South Node. We want to release anything around the Leo theme in our life. So that would be around our identity or where we're not showing up authentically. And also, it's very much tying into whatever house is ruled by Leo in our chart. This is where we have a chance to let go so that we can grow. Pisces, additionally, is the last sign of the zodiac. So it's this kind of the end of a story, the end of a chapter. It's about this surrendering. And most importantly, with Pisces, it's about tapping into our intuition, leaning into our imagination, and stepping into and trusting the mystery of life. The truth is, this year in 2026, we have been journeying through this liminal space. And this lunar eclipse is very indicative of that, meaning that one story has ended, but we're still trying to find the beginning of the next story. We're still in that in-between mysterious place, and it may feel uncomfortable, but this is where we get a really clear view of our inner world. We have to step into it to see it. Fortunately, so many people have reached out, and one of the things that is of great concern to them is the lack of clarity. They just can't see what's next. They can't figure out what to do. They're not clear about anything. And that is, as I said, not only the moon, this present moon, but it's just the theme of 2026 so far. But fortunately for us, on August 27th, we do have a very beautiful moment of clarity. And that happens with Mercury in Cazimi. And remember, you can read in the blog, I give you more information about that. But basically, Cazimi just means that the planet is purified, it's clean, it's cleared, it's given strength by the sun. And so Mercury, of course, it's about our mind, it's about our communication. And so we have an ability to have clarity in our communication, in our conversations, in our ideas, and how we understand what's going on around us. Now, Mercury is in Virgo, and the beauty of Virgo is that it gives us this ability to discern our world around us. So we can get information, and not only get the information, but use that Virgo energy to analyze and to figure out what the information means for us. So it's a great day to listen to what ideas come up. It's a wonderful day to have conversations. If you need to sign a contract, anything with communication or collaboration is a wonderful time. You'll have that moment of clarity to step into on the 27th as we experience a Mercury Cazimi. Now that clarity doesn't last very long, because shortly after the eclipse, on the day of the eclipse, rather, not shortly after, but on the day of the eclipse, we have three maybe challenging, uncomfortable, definitely something that makes us feel, uncertain. And we have three different connections with Uranus that creates that kind of energy for us. Right now, Uranus is in Gemini, and it's going to make a connection with the moon. Then after that, it will make a connection with Mercury. And finally, it's going to make a connection with the sun. So there will be a lot of unexpected things that follow the Pisces full moon. So expect the unexpected. The power or the gift of Uranus is that it helps us to break patterns. It's the great disruptor. And so when we are open to having patterns broken, what we get breakthroughs, we get sudden changes, we get surprises, and all of these are not qualified as good or bad. It's just that this is an opportunity for new ideas to come through, new information to come through, and also to look at what unexpected or new developments occur in our life. So whatever happens, just kind of flow with it. Just kind of the same advice that I gave before is to just be curious. Don't react, but know that this day, when we have all of this Uranus movement throughout the day, that it is certainly a day for us to just simply observe, and also, very importantly, as I said before, to be very, very, very conscious of not labeling anything as good or bad. What you can do is to ask, what possibility exists now that didn't exist before? Because again, that is what Uranus is asking us to do. So if we feel a little off kilter, if we feel untethered, just know that with all of this Uranus action, it's that old anchor that we have is gone. So, and it's not attached to anything as of yet. So just hold on and look directly at the situation, and again, ask what possibility exists now that did not exist before, because therein lies our opportunity. A few days after the full moon lunar eclipse, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful eclipse. If you have time to look at it, do so. Usually with lunar eclipse, we get this beautiful red, ruddy moon, color of the moon. So I remember growing up, and this was something that my grandfather did with us. We would always go out on lunar eclipses. We would wake up and go out and look at the moon as it went through the eclipse phase. So just a few days after the eclipse on the 31st, we have another really nice event. We have Jupiter that is forming a lovely, very supportive connection with Saturn in Aries. I talked about Jupiter earlier because Jupiter was is the ruler of the full moon lunar eclipse, and it comes back into the story. And Jupiter, as always, as I said before, it wants us to expand, it wants us to dream bigger, it wants us to believe that something more is possible, and it wants us to take a chance. Saturn, of course, says, okay, that's great, but what is the plan? Is the dream sustainable? And what structures do I need to make it work? And what responsibility are we willing to take to ensure that this dream comes true? You know, these two planets working together, it's really a good thing. It's where the dream meets the plan, right? And after an eclipse season, especially this one that asks us to release so much, now is a great time to start thinking about, now that I have created the space, what deserves to be built there? What deserves to be built in the space that I have created? Because I was willing to let go of certain patterns, certain habits, certain ways of thinking during this eclipse season. Very importantly, this meetup with Jupiter and Saturn, this one that happens on the 31st is the first of 3. And we will be back at this meetup in April of 2027, and the final one will be July of 2027. So you do see that you have space to think of this new dream and work towards it. Now on the very next day, on September 1st, we have probably one of the most challenging meetups of planets. We have Mars in Cancer meeting up with Saturn in Aries. You know, Mars is the planet of action. It's moving, going, and then we have Saturn, which is the opposite. So you have this kind of Mars saying, let's go, and Saturn saying, no, not that fast. So it's almost like constantly putting your foot on the gas and then right after putting on the brake. And so it creates this sense of frustration. And there is a deeper level to this frustration because both planets, Mars in Cancer and Saturn in Aries, are in signs where they're not very comfortable and they're not well resourced. So we might have gotten excited or started feeling energetic with the Jupiter-Saturn moment, and then right after that we feel this kind of dramatic slowdown. So, or something comes up, or we feel that there's a delay. That's fine. It just is this spot where we're having this meetup of these two planets that are traditionally in astrology considered the malefics. Again, not that that means bad, but it means that this is a place where we do have to make some effort, do something different in a different way. And just know that it means that, you know, your plans are not ending, but maybe this is just not the time for it, or maybe there's a different approach that we need to consider. Think about what the delay could be thinking of, you know, teaching you as well. Basically, in the next, week or so, we experience these very highs and then we experience the lows. So prepare yourself. As always, I have rituals in the blog, and the rituals that I chose for this moon are things that will help us grounding, because there's so many things that are making us feel, that we have no footing in the world. So these are rituals to help us to be grounded and to slow down and to reflect. Think of Pisces and the rituals that I have as this moment to kind of return to the womb. So the portal is closing, and as we close the portal, we want to see where this moon has an impact for us personally. And again, in the blog, we have an opportunity to do that in the section that says, let's make it personal in 3 easy steps. And so, of course, the first thing to do is to look at the house that Pisces rules. This is the first place what we want to look at. So if it's the 10th house, maybe it's something to do with your career. that is ending, or a shift that you need to make, or maybe something that's not moving as fast as you like. That could be it. If it's the 7th house, maybe it's about your partnerships, your marriage. Maybe there's some change in your relationships. Maybe there's a delay in how you move forward in your relationships and your partnerships. So look at the house that's ruled by Pisces. And then also look at the degree. And so the full moon lunar eclipse is at 4 degrees of Pisces. So anything between 1 and 7 degrees will be more impactful for you. And now, because there's so much going on during this time, I would also encourage you to look not only at your Pisces house, but look at all the other mutable signs. So look at your Gemini house. We have a lot going on with Uranus right now. Also look at your Sagittarius house, and also look at your Virgo house. There's a lot going on in your Virgo house with Mercury in Virgo as well. So these are places that are being activated right now for you. And so take time to go through that and get clear about how this particular eclipse is particularly impacting you. So the portal is closing, and that brings us back to where we began. You know, as this 2 weeks comes to an end, we really want to spend time to sit back and look at those 2 weeks and reflect on it. And we also want to remember that, you know, no matter where we are in our journey, that this moment will pass, right? Nothing lasts forever. And the song that I chose was a song by one of my favorite songs by Dionne Warwick, and it's the song that says, "No night so long." And it's perfect for this ending of the eclipse season because, as I said, no night lasts forever. When we think about the eclipse and seeing this loss of light, know that that does not last forever. We will find a day. And most importantly in the song, it reminds you, the singer reminds her friend that she is singing to or speaking to, that I'm here to support you and to remind you of who you are. So find that support group, find the people who will speak to the authentic you and support you through this transformation and this transition that so many of us are journeying through. And also, I wanted to use a quote, and he says, "Magic is believing in ourselves." And if you don't do that, if you do that, then you can make anything happen. And Pisces is definitely the sign of magic. So it's the magic of rediscovering who we are. It's the magic of understanding that we may not know exactly what's happening next, but it's the magic of trusting ourselves even when we don't know the exact next step that we're going to take. Happy full moon in Pisces. Enjoy it. I will see you soon next month for some very interesting lunations as well. But I hope that this Pisces full moon, as well as the 2 weeks that preceded it, the eclipse portal, has given you more information and insight into your journey, and most importantly, greater insight into who you are and who you are becoming. Happy full moon in Pisces. Enjoy it fully.